I know. Howdy, everybody.
How's it going? We hope everyone can join us today. I got greenhouse hair here.
Casey's been in the greenhouse most of the day today.
Yeah, I've been working on a new video. One that I think will be very beneficial for a lot of you. It's gonna be a video. It'll be a video on if you just made a big plant haul. What do you do with your plants now? If you still have time before you can put them out in the garden. So we're gonna kind of go over maintenance tips of maintaining your plants while you're waiting till they can go out to the garden. And even if that's not you in that situation, we're actually going over watering tips, fertilizing, bad bug identification and control, keeping things clean and separated for the ultimate growth, to keep things looking like they do at a garden center. We're sharing all those good tips in the new video coming out. So
yep, it should be a good one. So
yeah,
this is the first time that I was out of the house this morning, but it's been raining here for 48 hours straight, and it finally stopped around 11 o'clock this morning. And
it's been so dreary.
yeah, this is the first time that the sun has been out here in 2 days.
Yeah, so we figured we'd come out here and do the live out here so you guys can enjoy the sunshine right along with us.
Yeah,
But,
it feels great.
So
to
like
be out
this is
here.
the first time I've looked at you all day.
Yeah. Oh, do you notice anything different about me?
He really trimmed up.
Well, anything else?
You trimmed your hair?
Give myself a haircut. Yep. Now Casey doesn't like when I give myself haircuts because she, before all of this, was a beautician and she went to school for hair. Sorry.
Cosmetologist.
So she's really, really good at hair, and normally she does cut mine and it always looks amazing, but I'm one of those people that I can never wait for anything. And so, you know, I go into the bathroom to get ready and I'm just like,
he puts a bowl on his head
maybe
and
I'll
goes to town.
You know, maybe I'll just snip the little bushiness here, and then it's just, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't go too crazy.
So if you are someone that does that, or your husband or your significant other does that, a great way is, you know, let them do that, but then also get them what's called a texturizing shear or a thinning shear. It's just like a scissors, only there's grooves in it. So once they blunt cut, then you go in on those edges with that. It's so easy even for him. It takes out a lot of the thickness that can get bulky back here, but it also evens out those blunt cuts that guys give themselves.
Yeah. and I actually used that today with, you know, some of the areas instead of doing just that blunt cut, I take those shears and just kind of like thin it out a little bit so it's a little more. I just felt like I was getting a little too shaggy.
He was.
So
but what's really
good
funny
now.
is, did you notice anything different about me today?
you did something with your hair too, but I can't put my finger on it.
I gave
It looks really
myself a
good.
trim.
Yeah, did you do the bangs?
No, I just trimmed.
Okay.
I trimmed off because the ends were getting kind of
Yeah.
bad. I know a lot of you don't go to, can't go to the salon right now. I never go to a salon, but a great way to give yourself a trim is just to kind of bring it forward and make sure your head's perfectly straight. Comb this way like this, and then bring your comb with your fingers down to here, and then just take off the really fine dead ends, and your hair will feel so much more full. I just did that with a little bit on the ends, and already I feel like it looked healthier.
Yeah, it did look good. So Casey's been out in the greenhouse filming the new video, and we'll show you in a little bit. It's you know, packed to the gills in here now, pretty much. So she's been out here. But I did notice before you came outside, I'm like, something's different about her, and I like it. All right, let's see. Let's get into. Let's say hi to everybody that's out there.
Hey everyone,
Soil and Margaritas, happy to have you here. I know sometimes you miss. They said that it's been cold today and cold and rainy there too, so that makes sense. Bobby Berg. Hi guys, love your channel. Been binge watching all of your videos.
Awesome.
Anytime somebody says they've been binge watching all the videos, that just makes me so happy. I mean, that's really cool to hear that, because I know how I am when I get into something on Netflix and I binge watch it. It means it's good stuff. So
yeah, thank you
it's really
so
cool
much.
to hear
And
that.
I mean, as a creator too, to hear that, it makes you feel like, you know, you're doing something right. So um, if some of you are new watching today, a great binge watch is our garden vlog, because it's more just like the garden life, but there's so many garden tips and how-tos mixed into it. So it's not so much just like the structure of a lesson. The garden vlog is us literally just being in the garden as a family, but also doing our daily routines in the garden. And so we show all kinds of good stuff. I feel it's good stuff.
Oh yeah, I think
I'm biased.
yeah, it definitely is. And I know this weekend is supposed to be nice here, so I know Casey's got stuff that she's planning on getting done. I've got things that I need to get built. And then of course we'll have the girls helping us, and they'll be playing out here. So this weekend we'll probably be doing some of that vlog style, just kind of showing everything that we're doing to get ready for the season here. So
it's getting really busy, because I feel like we're coming down to the wire here, because we are starting our garden season inside the gardens, usually the second week of May for us, second or third, depending on where the weather's at, because here in Wisconsin weather gets crazy. You just don't know what to expect.
right.
But right now it's getting busy because we're trying to get a lot of the projects completed, or at least almost completed, by the time the planting time comes in a few weeks. And right now we just, all that we have done, because due to weather, is the science room.
Yeah, the science room, which is gonna now be called the
It's just the repairs. So we're gonna actually call it the kid coop. So that way the kids can do anything in there. They can play in there. It's their science room. So that way anything they explore, they can take in there. They'll have all their little magnifying glasses and microscopes, all that fun little stuff kids like to get into. Their butterfly nets, their little watering cans. So it's really their outdoor science room, but we're gonna call it the kid coop.
Yeah, yep. So that's pretty much ready to be painted now. I replaced some of the there's multiple doors on it, which were kind of rotted out in one of the walls, and so everything's pretty much ready to get painted. And then
so my job is to start painting it while Jason starts
building more raised beds.
Yeah, the bed maker.
The bed maker will be back in action.
Which, I mean, we're gonna share all of that with you.
Window boxes too.
Yep, and window boxes are coming up. Just a lot of stuff is coming up. We just got a big load of our lumber for everything, so we were able to get it delivered. And where'd you get the lumber?
I got the lumber from Bliffert Lumber, so they are a lumber company. I don't know if they have locations out of the state of Wisconsin. They're probably primarily in southeast Wisconsin, but that's where we as a home builder get all of our lumber from. So it's nice. I can call in, figure out what I want, kind of go around, make a list, and then I can call it in, and they deliver it the next day. So
yeah,
I don't have to go pick anything up, and it's kind of nice. So
that is really nice.
Well, we've got a question. Hi Casey, I overwintered some coleus cuttings. They're looking pretty good, but the stems are longer than I'd like. Can I plant them deeper than the current soil line, similar to a tomato?
No, they don't get roots on the stem. It's not going to hurt them if you plant them a little bit deeper, but I wouldn't plant them too deep, because they don't get well, actually, some do get roots on the stem. I guess it would depend on your variety, but it's not going to hurt to plant them a little deeper. There's not really a specific rule with coleus. It's not like only go up to the root ball with coleus. Like whenever I do containers, I never watch where I'm planting it. As long as there's growth above, it should be fine. But if you're talking that it's, more bare along the bottom, my question to you is, have you been pinching it at all? A lot of times if you pinch it, it'll stop it from growing up for a little bit and then force it to grow out. And you may even get some growth along that bare bottom by doing that. Some may start poking out. Also, maybe adding in a little bit of fertilizer that can give it a little boost, a little kick. And then, it should do very well for you, especially once it's growing in a larger pot. Once you bump it up, a lot of times they take off. I think you'll be okay.
Yeah. I'm having fun watching you talk with the watering. So.
It's like on it's like on a movie License to Drive. When the instructor puts the coffee on the what's that called, on the top?
The dashboard.
The dashboard, and he's like, all right, now it is like filled to the brim. And he's like, all right, if you spill this coffee, you fail.
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
No camera on there. Our tripod just blew over, but the camera's in here, so.
It blew over with the camera on it just before
right
that.
before we started the video. So we were smart enough to take it off after that happened. So.
After the fact. Which, by the way, we have to get a new
Yes.
camera.
Yes, we are going to do that. We probably would have already, but
okay, so here's the thing. The reason why we haven't is because we have to really look into all the details of what would be a really good camera for us, because we aren't just tripod filmers. We're also ones that do the vlog style, so it needs to be carried. It needs to be able to have a microphone attachment. If somebody's watching right now and knows of a vlogging camera that's a nice size, and it doesn't have to take pictures either, it can just be a video camera, something with a good microphone attachment, something that's still lightweight, nothing huge and bulky, because we need to still do things.
Yeah, not one of the old school, you know, on the shoulder.
It doesn't have to be ginormous, but if you have a suggestion of a vlogging camera for us,
we'll take it.
We'll take it, so that way it can eliminate some of this time that it takes to, you know, look into cameras. It takes, there's millions. It's like, well, how do I know? And then there's all these good reviews, and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this one, so many good reviews, and all of a sudden there's like a half star. It's like, oh, but what if that happens to us too? And it's, you just don't know.
Oh, and that's how we bought the last one, is we did a lot of research on it, but the only thing about it was it said that you couldn't have like an external mic for it, and at the time we're like, well, that's not a big deal, but it is.
It's a big deal now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, let's see here. So
yeah.
So happy I found your
So
channel.
it's really funny because with the camera we have now, it doesn't have an extra, you can't like hook a microphone up to it. So it is what it is. It's on the camera. And so there's nothing you can really put over it to block wind noise. So we actually created our own contraption. If you want to grab that.
What?
The camera.
Oh yeah.
So so what I did was I took one of my small little like foot socks and cut it and just put it over the top, and it actually blocks the wind noise really well. And this is what we use right now. It's a let's see. It's a Canon G7X. I like Canon, so if you're gonna suggest a camera, can we stick to Canon? Because I have a lot of Canon products and accessories and things like that. But if you guys have a good suggestion, please share with us. We could really use the help with that.
Brandon S says, your channel is awesome for someone who loves plants. My favorite plant channels are yours and Garden Answers. Well, thank you very much. We feel very happy to be there in that company.
Yeah, because we actually we like Garden Answer and all of her videos, and I noticed that she now shows little Benjamin in the videos a lot, which we can completely relate with having the kids in the garden all the time, and her husband helps her a lot out in the garden now, and it just kind of, you know, it's really nice to see how her channel has evolved into adding more family into it, and I like that.
So speaking of haircuts, Soil and Margarita says, I gave my son a haircut the other day. Let's say I'd rather pay a professional, the poor thing.
Well,
I can picture like a big bald spot on the back of his head.
He's not in school, so.
That's true. That's true. Let's see. So, what if you started your plants indoors and now they're leggy? What do you do?
Well, I guess it just depends on what it is, whether it's vegetables or flowers. Some things can be pinched, some can't. And sometimes if they're too leggy, you know, sometimes it's just, they're done for because they're really not going to come back. But if you know the variety or want to share the variety in comments, I can help you further. I also can help you if you message me on Instagram at Casey Lynn Lawrence, send me a DM. I'm there to help if you want to send me a picture so I can really take a look at it and help you, like detailed help you. So
yeah. Caroline O says, I'm new to your channel and I love your spirit and love your gardening and family.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We're happy that you found us. Happy to have you here.
We've been noticing that there's a lot of new subscribers lately, and I guess for us, we really want to introduce ourselves today because, you know, when you start following a channel, it's because of a how-to video or a vlog video or just like maybe one thing where it may not have even given you any information about Jason and I. So I'm Casey, and
I'm Jason.
what we are doing here is, it's called the Garden Farm, the Lawrence Garden Farm. That's our channel, our podcast, and the name of our farm. We are building our gardens on our property that's been in my family for 9 generations, so since 1839, and it's been a farm since then. And my parents gave me and my sisters each a little parcel of land here on the farm. We grew up, have on the vegetable farm, animal farm, so in agriculture, and they also started their horticultural business, which is a well-known garden center here in Wisconsin called Wayne's Daughters Greenhouses. And I worked in that business up until having Lana, which was like almost 7 years ago. So, what we're doing here on the property is building our entire property into gardens. What our ultimate goal is to keep this property in our family for as long as we can. And if it's just a house, it's like, no one's going to want to pass down to them, because that's eventually just going to be an old house.
Right.
So we're trying to turn it into an actual business of the garden farm, to where we're going to build it up with all kinds of gardens and eventually open it up to the public for events, education for all ages, including children, to start gaining that interest and pique that interest for children at young ages. And kind of like, like a little field trip area, maybe where people could host a wedding, a shower, just a gathering, just to enjoy the garden life, or even, have like a garden walkthrough, or maybe even some garden lessons, and just really a unique type of venue here. And that's kind of what we're trying to create, but we're documenting it along the garden vlog, and also sharing everything that I've learned my entire life through the garden tip videos.
Yeah, so we're pretty much showing us building this from scratch. Our first videos are, I think, showing our first raised beds being built. And so the area that we're in right now in the greenhouse, this whole piece of the property, side of the property, was just, bare lawn. And we came in here and we scraped it up and started putting raised beds in here, and we just keep expanding upon that. This year we brought in over 50 loads of dirt so far, and still counting. We're doing a lot of berms around the property to enclose, and planting trees and plants on those berms. So every year we just want to keep building it up and building it bigger and bigger, so eventually the whole entire property, anywhere you go, is going to have some cool garden features or areas. It'll all kind of tie together, and it should be pretty amazing by the time we're all said and done. Hopefully we're still alive when it's all said and done.
So this really annoys me. You're about to hear it.
No, I think they already heard it.
Oh, okay. Is when people go by revving their engines and they think they're cool.
And I used to do that. But now I hate it.
Oh, it drives me nuts, because it's so quiet and peaceful, and then all of a sudden, and I'm like, oh. That's why we're adding berms and lots of trees, so that way we can start closing the property in. So when, once the time comes that we do open, it feels real private. It blocks noise. It's quiet. And there isn't a ton of noise. We're still out in more of like a rural area. But it's also an area that, 30 years down the road could be built up quite a bit. You never know.
Right.
You don't know. It could go either way. So,
so Chris Labar writes, got a new greenhouse. Do you need lights / heat mat?
I don't use any lights or heat mat. We get plenty of sun. So as long as you're in more of like a southern, western exposure, even eastern, that's morning sun. As long as it's not facing north. If it's facing north, you're not getting a lot of sun, so you'll probably need a little bit of extra light to keep things rolling, unless you're planting up all shade varieties. Then, but if it's east, south, or west, you're good to go. You don't need grow lights. And for all of you that are using grow lights right now, just always remember you need to harden your plants from grow lights to natural sun, because otherwise your plants will get sun scald. And all that means is that it's gonna really kind of burn the leaves. Your leaves are gonna start looking burnt. Your plant could grow out of it, but it could also take over your plant and kill it. So what you want to do is kind of harden them, about an hour for a couple days out in the natural sun, bring them back into the artificial, and then do that every day just for another hour extra, and after a week you should be pretty good to go.
There you go. My mom writes, "Hi Jason and Casey.
Hey Karen.
I can't wait for Country Gardens magazine to come out tomorrow, May 1st, right?"
Oh yeah.
Yes,
What?
I think tomorrow's May 1st.
Oh my
If tomorrow's
goodness,
May
we are
1st,
so behind.
I know. If tomorrow's May 1st, then yes, that's when Country Gardens magazine comes out. And if you don't know, I mean, we've talked about it before. We've got videos on it, but we are going to be featured. Our family, our gardens are going to be featured in the magazine. It looks like it's going to be, well, we read the article. It's a really cool article. Lots of cool pictures. So if you are in a Walgreens or CVS or grocery store, pick one up. Otherwise, we'll put a link out as well. We'll put it in the community post.
You can buy
tomorrow.
them on. You can buy them online,
Right.
but we'll also have it available on our Instagram. And you know what? We'll get the link under the description of this video tomorrow, because we can't send out the link until May 1st, which is tomorrow. So we'll make sure to put the link in this video as well for the magazine. I'm actually really excited because we worked so hard on that last summer. We worked on so many projects to get done, and I mean, we literally worked to the bone last summer.
Yeah,
I felt like last summer was just like...
It was. It's been a long time coming, because it was this time last year that Casey was contacted by them. So ever since then, you know, we knew we had all this work to do to get the gardens ready and get ready for the photo shoot, but you're still always thinking about like that end game, like we're gonna be in a magazine, oh my gosh. And so a year ago today pretty much is when we found out it was gonna happen, and it's like we've been waiting for that moment for an entire year, so here it is.
Yep. And what people don't know either is that you prep for a photo shoot, but then it's not done after that. We actually worked hours upon hours after that with helping with details, writing in variety names on hundreds of photos for them. They even did a segment on our window boxes, so there's going to be some great window box tips that we share in that magazine issue. Just a lot of good stuff. It was a lot of work, but what we just recently found out is that this is going to actually be the last issue of Country Gardens magazine ever.
Yep. So we don't know if that's you know, a good thing or a bad thing for the magazine. We'll find out. You know, we've got high hopes.
Well,
that,
I'm a little disappointed because I loved the magazine.
We're definitely disappointed.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, so that's what's going on that.
You can listen to more of that on our podcast, The Lawrence Garden Farm. I go a little more into detail.
Casey goes off.
No.
In detail. No, I'm just kidding. If you want to hear Casey go nuts, tune into our podcast. No. So Viv says, my peppers and petunias have started flowering indoors. I think our last frost date is another 10 days away. Anything to worry about?
Nothing to worry about. You're good to go.
Good to go, Viv.
Yep.
All right. Hello from Philly. Love your style. I'm trying to recreate your raised beds here with flowering kale, marigolds, salvia, snapdragon, etc. I hope they look half as good as yours. Well, if you follow...
Got some flowering kale.
There you go. Yeah. And now, so those were the raised bed we've got. We're looking at our garden oasis right now. So those were like the raised beds that were right over there. So... Good luck. We hope everything turns out for you, and that's a beautiful combination.
So when we actually started our channel, after we built the first garden space with the 2-foot high raised beds, we have a video, but it's a live video from Facebook, and it's not like a how-to, you know, it's nothing like that. So in the new garden space this season, over by the kids' garden space, we're adding raised beds, and they're going to be 2 feet high. So Jason will be putting out a video on how to build the 2-foot high raised beds that we've been building and using. And it's just like how he built the 1-foot high raised beds. We have a video in the DIY playlist, but there's just one little extra step on the 2-foot high raised beds.
Nothing
that
too
isn't
complicated. Yeah, we'll show.
It's actually really simple, and anybody could do it. You know, if Jason wasn't here, I could do it. Other than pound the stakes in the ground.
Yeah, so I pound stakes into the ground. We get freezing here, so things, you know, when the frost comes, it pushes things up. So I want to try to keep them in place as best as I can. So Chris writes, you spoke of doing new raised beds. Did you move into a new house? Well, as we were kind of talking about before, we'll never really be done building raised beds. So we're just going to keep expanding our gardens, and doing raised beds is, I mean, even if we're doing things out in other areas, I can't see not doing them. It contains things so nicely. It looks nice. You don't have to weed whack around the edging, you know.
It keeps everything nice and clean. And the reason why we actually did raised beds to begin with, starting almost 7 years ago, is because we had a lot of clay in the soil, and it would have taken years to get the gardens right over on this side. So I was just like, you know what, let's just do a raised bed. And I decided I wanted them higher because I didn't want my back to ache. And they've been perfect. They're my favorite. We have 1 foot high ones as well. They work out just as nicely, but for maintenance, the 2 foot high is so much easier on the back.
And they do look better too. So, you know, gardening has, you know, for us, there is some design in what we're doing here. I mean, we definitely, Casey, you know, when we plan things out, we want it to look really good. We want it to look cool. We still want it to be functional. So that's part of it too. I mean, the 2 foot high beds.
Yeah, but our garden isn't just our garden. It's our life. It's our living
landscape
space outside. That's where we live all summer long. So like this year, we're adding the space for the kids, so that way they can keep their interest. And so they have like their own little science room, their own little raised bed they're gonna have, and that's where we're also doing the fruit garden with a couple fruit trees, some blueberries, and then we're also adding in some little wildflower patches that'll be some attractors for butterflies. So we've got all kinds of great stuff to share and teach you, and just have you guys along with us. It'll just be kind of fun, you know.
Definitely. So Allison writes, question about soil. I'm trying to fill a new garden. I really don't know the difference between topsoil, garden soil, potting mix, compost mix, triple mix, and every other mix. I'm overwhelmed.
You know, you'd be fine with garden soil. And if you're gonna mix in a lot of annuals, you'd be fine with just garden soil. Like I'm saying, like flowers, but we always add a little bit of the potting mix, and ours is actually the Professional Growers Mix by Jolly Gardener. We mix just a little bit of that in there, just to give it a little bit more of an airiness, because we do mix so many flowers in there. But really, garden soil would be fine. That's just a mixture of topsoil and compost mixed together. And whether you're starting off with organic soil or not, just look for that label and you're good to go.
Right. Yep.
Take all the thought out of it if you're a beginner and just go at it. And if you have taller ones or whatever, we like to layer too. So when we first started, well, you know what? We have a whole podcast going into detail about this. It's on the Lawrence Garden Farm podcast, and it's tips for gardening tips for beginners. It's like kind of like some of the tips that we share, and we actually go into detail from the start of the soil to what we're using now and the progress of what we're using with soil.
It tells you how to layer it and everything that you need to know.
Man, this button keeps coming.
One of the reasons that we started our podcast and Casey's Instagram and the YouTube is so that when there's questions like this, we've always got like, oh, you know, we did something on the podcast, so here's a link for it. You know, it's nice to be able to just provide all of the detailed info and
just to be able to help you guys and make it easier for you, because I know how it is, you know, like with gardening, I feel like I know what we're doing here, but when it comes to other topics that I don't know about other than gardening, it's like, you know, a lot of times you find yourself just looking all over the Google.
She sounds like an old honey,
we're looking on the Google.
Turn on the Google. I need to find something. Turn on the Google machine.
The Google. So, well, even like the other day, my mom's like, you know, she's like, yeah. I'm like, well, did you get that picture I sent you? She's like, yeah, I saw it online. And I'm like, no, I sent it in a text message. A text message isn't online. You know?
Oh, that's
it's hilarious. So funny. Yeah.
So speaking of the cameras, we've got a couple different people that commented. Laurel says, Laura at Garden Answer has a great one, and they list it on their website, I think. So we'll definitely check that out.
Look into that, because otherwise, you know, that's one of the things I'm talking about. Always you find yourself looking online for hours at things, and it's just like wasted time, you know? So that's why we
Yeah.
like to provide a lot of information, and thank you so much for sharing that information with us. That's saving us hours of time
Right.
online.
And then somebody else, Soil and Margarita, says the Canon GX7 Mark III. That's a vlogging camera with an amazing color. It has a mic, and also Wi-Fi, I believe. So we'll check all these
Yeah,
out. And,
definitely will.
Viv writes, I transplanted our cabbage and broccoli 2 weeks ago and added fertilizer, but so far there hasn't been much growth. It's been kind of warm in the upper 60s the past week or so. Is it too hot for them?
In the upper 60s? Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I don't think so.
No. Just give them a little time. A lot of times they don't do anything for 1 to 2 weeks. A lot of times what's happening is underneath the soil.
Well, it
And-
was transplanted.
Yeah, transplanted.
Okay, so the roots are still adjusting.
They're
then, or-
adjusting to their new home. They're
Yeah.
growing into their new home. And once they kind of sprawl out in their new home and they're laid back, that's when they start growing up. So just give them a little time and you'll see a good change.
Cool. So we've got people, greetings from Greece,
Wow.
from the Netherlands, from Saudi Arabia, Minnesota, Indiana. So thank you everybody for joining us, and we hope your weather's getting a little bit nicer, like it is here. We're supposed to have a nice weekend here.
Well, yeah, it'll be a nice weekend, but we just dealt with a lot of crummy weather, so I think we've earned it.
Yeah, we have, definitely. Let's see, Heather asks, hi Casey and Jason, for fertilizing vegetables, is worm castings enough, or should I be using something else in addition to the worm castings?
I use an addition. The worm castings is sometimes just, something we add to the soil in the beginning of the season because we use it a lot, not just as a fertilizer, but more as like a soil conditioner. And it kind of evens out a good pH in there. It's a great aerator in the soil as well. So when you're, starting for the season, there aren't, worms in that new layer. That's why the worm castings really help. But I do fertilize through the season. Last year we used the Jobs and the Espoma, whichever one we could get our hands on, the dry fertilizer. We would just toss it out there, and it was so smelly that we had to actually plan our events around the time we were fertilizing because the smell wouldn't go
Hope
away
the
for a
wind
few
was
days.
blowing from the west, not the east.
But we did that about, I think, like 3-4 times last season, and it worked very well. But right now we're actually trying out Espoma now came out with a liquid fertilizer, which yes, because we can use it in our fertilizer injector. But I am actually testing that out, and I show that in the new video that we just filmed today, and I am actually going to be putting that out this weekend, and we're sharing how we're fertilizing with that. I kind of cover it a little bit. I don't go into like complete detail, but I do show how easy it is to use because they actually have a measuring thing on there. You'll see if you watch. And but we're also trying out another organic fertilizer that's also liquid by Agro Thrive, and so right now we're doing comparison trials on tomatoes with them to see, if we're noticing a difference. So far they all look amazing. So it hasn't been long enough though to have a full term trial. We're doing at least, a 4 to 6 week term to see, what's going on with them, which one works better, and then we'll keep you guys updated.
So Manta's Trek or Manta's Trace says, can you give a shout out to Chopper Dice? He is your biggest fan. Well, shout out to Chopper Dice.
Chopper Dice.
Sometimes I always wonder, like, is somebody trying to, make you say one of those phrases when you say it fast? I was reading it a couple of times before I said it, so I don't know. Hopefully not. That's why I said it slow.
And split it into two.
Let's see here.
It's funny.
I would like to know a fruit tree resistant to diseases in Zone 7.
Well, we're not professionals with fruit trees. That's one thing that's a new area for us. We're just adding fruit trees this year. That's one thing that I haven't grown up with or grown ever. So we're coming into doing a trial year with an apple tree and a cherry tree, and we'll keep you guys updated through the garden vlog on the trials, because even if we fail, we still share that. We share everything so that way you guys can learn from even our mistakes.
Right. Yep.
So we're really excited to share that though with you guys this year through the garden vlog.
Let's see here. So we need to do a tour once everything is kind of growing and in bloom. We definitely will, for sure. I mean, that's something.
A tour in the garden or in the greenhouse?
Didn't say.
I have been thinking about doing a garden tour even in the greenhouse
Yeah, we
here,
got lots of
because
stuff. Lots of stuff here.
I don't know where we're gonna put everything else. I still have another huge haul to make, and I still want to get a lot of our containers pre-made, so that way like I don't have to worry about making containers and planting up the raised beds. I kind of want to like spread things out a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna have to really just move things around and try to fit everything. But this is the time of year where I really wish we would have just gone a little bit bigger with the greenhouse. And my dad kept telling us, remember, he was like, you're gonna wish you went bigger. I'm like, no.
I know, and it is full
like,
right now.
No,
Yeah.
that's plenty big. And now I'm just like, man, he was right.
Right.
No matter
right.
how much you like it, your parents are always right.
Let's see. I love your channel. What advice would you give when designing your garden and how to keep the bugs from eating your plants?
Well, okay, so how we designed our garden was how we wanted to spend time in our garden. So we pretty much decided that we wanted our garden to be our living space. We wrote a list of all the things that we would like to be doing in our garden space, like sitting and relaxing. We'd like to be able to take a walk. We'd like to be able to cook over a fire. We'd like to have like a washing station. We'd like to make things easier with, or set it up so that way we can keep expanding. That's why we have a driveway. So some of these things I've listed, we don't even have yet, still on the garden design, but we have to go by our budget. So every year we keep adding things that, we want to continue to do in the garden, and those are future projects, but we pretty much design it around our life. Like, what do you want to do out in your garden? Do you want to see your gardens from all the views? Like, what's your favorite view when you're sitting outside? Design your garden in front of your favorite view. Like for us,
Right.
Ours are the sunsets. So we wanted to make sure that when the sunset went down, we were able to view the garden and the sunset, and we wanted to have a seat right there. So that way we put a little sitting area where we could see the view of the gardens and the sunset. And then we did the gardens off to the side because we wanted to also cook in the gardens. So then we designed garden beds around a fire pit that Jason built for us. So now we can pick and we can cook on there. And the next thing I'd like, instead of having to always find a hose to wash veggies with, is to have a veggie washing station and a station where we can prep some food for the fire. And that's something else we're going to try to get to this year. And I have plans for it, but
Yep.
we'll see how far we go.
Yep. So
Yeah.
that it'd be nice to just be able to bring the basket of everything over there and wash it all. And
Yeah, and then a great way to, keep bad bugs out of the garden is you can't keep bugs out of the garden. I mean, all bugs are welcome, and with the bad come the good. So
Yeah.
what you want to do is do a few things to attract some beneficial bugs to your garden. Pollinators and other bugs that eat other bugs. You want to be a part of the ecosystem. If you don't have bad bugs, then something's wrong. So we actually have a podcast on this whole topic. It's on our podcast, The Lawrence Garden Farm, and it's called our top 3 flowering flowers and bringing beneficials and pollinators to the garden. It's like a really long podcast, but it goes over so much in there that will really help you. And that's why I love intermixing flowers. It's not only for the beauty, but it's also for what it brings. And it brings so many beneficials, like the lacewings and the ladybugs and, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yep. So Kathy asks, how many acres for the entire farm? So we're on 5 acres. Our property is 5 acres, and then we're surrounded by approximately 60 acres. And her dad and parents did actually have more farmland that they owned across the street and to the north of us. They did sell some of it off years back, but now
we used to farm around like 500 acres, and my dad also had siblings, so things got split up that way too. And then he was the only farmer here because everyone else kind of moved. So what kind of happened is over the years, they actually owned another farm down the road as well. So it's kind of crazy because they like owned a lot of things, but then, you know, so many things happened through the farming ages. You know, like they kind of lost a lot. They didn't lose it. They had to sell it in order to survive. So right now, you know, that's how they got into the horticultural business because, you know, we were doing the farming and vegetable farm, pumpkin farm, all of that. And, you know, we were really struggling. We didn't have like anything. And we lived in a farmhouse that was built in 1839. It's like almost a historical mark here in the town.
Yeah.
Village now,
Yeah.
actually.
Yep.
And so it had 2 basements, and neither of them were finished. It was like open to the ground, super creepy, centipedes, all that icky stuff. We didn't have much, you know. And we grew up, you know, with the animals, the cows, the chickens, the lambs, the everything, pigs, everything, you know. And one year, a neighbor came and said to my dad and said, "Hey, you know, Wayne, can you grow me some petunias?" And my dad's like, "I'm a farmer, I don't grow flowers," you know. But he knew the guy, he liked the guy, so he did anyway. And he's like, "Oh, I'll grow some extra anyway." All the flowers sold out, and they sold faster than the vegetables. They went for more money than the amount of time and work animals took. So every year my dad kept adding more and more flowers, less and less like actual produce, and less livestock as well. And now today they're a really well-known garden center, Wayne's Daughters Greenhouses, and they no longer have animals, but now we all kind of live on the farm. And my 3 sisters work at the garden center. They help manage and run with my parents. And up until 7 years ago, I did too. But now, you know, we kind of have our own little thing going on. And Jason's a custom home builder, and so, you know, I was helping with designing homes there as well, and while having our little garden space and starting to create our garden space here. And then Jason's like, "Hey, let's start a YouTube channel." I'm like, "Okay." So then we started one, and long story short, we live on 5 acres. My dad owns the 60 around us right now, but they rent it out to a local farmer. We would love to be able to expand, and we're hoping to possibly purchase more land around us if everybody else is okay with that. It's kind of like a family decision, so I don't really like to go into detail or say I want to buy this, or, you know, because we're really just trying to do our own thing and make sure that everybody's okay with it. You know, so you kind of have to please more than one person.
Yep.
So, you know, I mean, we're just hoping that eventually we can expand so that way we can continue to grow the garden farm and create our own legacy here. And who knows, maybe it'll possibly be attached at one point then to like a little drive to the greenhouse.
Yeah,
You never know.
Never know. That
You know,
could
it would be kind of cool for people to go shopping and then visit the gardens where, you know, at that time, you know, we don't have anything in the gardens while people are shopping at the garden center right now, but for people to even just come and get some design ideas,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
just
I
to
think people would
feel
like
the
that.
layout, and, you know, maybe even come in the greenhouse and see, like, you know, how to seed start, or maybe even get some of their seed starting materials, or, you know, just like little things like that. But sorry, that went on forever.
That's okay. You
I'm
got
a
to talk
rambler.
about things to
rambler.
figure things out. So
Yeah.
we still have like you know, we don't know exactly the path that we want to go and exactly what we're going to do and have on the garden farm. So it's good to talk about things, and
Yeah.
it gets the brainstorming going. And
Yep.
so somebody says, so thank you for sharing your plans. Will you be enclosing your property with trees? And yes, that's kind of what we're doing right now with the berms and the trees. We're trying to, we don't want to enclose our entire property because to the south of us and then to the west of us, it's all pretty much open land. But anywhere where we can see a house or a road, we would like to just feel like it's not that, you know, pretend like it's not there, and just feel like it's all
not
open.
there.
So those are the areas that we're going to try to enclose with berms and trees. So
Yeah. And it would be nice because we have a field in the front where we do all the sunflowers and all the field stuff. And anytime we're out there, it's like, you know, as a family trying to enjoy our time, people are going by and beeping the horns or
looking to see what's going on over
slowing
there.
down, you know. So, I mean, it's just people's natural curiosity, you know. And for us, we like privacy, and I know it doesn't seem that way because we show you everything, but I'd rather show you in video.
We like
than...
certain types of privacy.
Yeah, yeah. I just like to feel like I'm living somewhere where nobody's around for miles. Like if we lived somewhere where, you know, all you heard was a bird chirping and insects and not anything else, no hum of a vehicle, no kids screaming next door, I'd be in heaven.
Yeah.
Oh, and the planes, because we're not too far from an airport.
Mm-hmm.
We're far enough, but it's still part, as you can hear.
Yeah. Yep.
It's still part of a path for them to get to the airport. So, you know, there's a few things, but hey, we are so blessed to be able to live where we do, and you know, we're just going to you know, enjoy our blessings and create it to be our dream, and hopefully be able to share it with all of you one day.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. I like this next comment. So Corel says, I think you guys need a cable channel. I don't know what HGTV's problem is. I love that. Thank you. We appreciate that. We've probably talked about this in
We did again today in the podcast.
past videos. No, did we? Did we talk
Yeah,
about
because we talked about how like there's hardly any gardening.
Oh,
and
yeah.
how
We talked
Magnolia
about
is
that.
the only one willing to put gardening on
Yep.
their network.
And we've been, we had, last year actually, we had a production company that we signed with, and they never really got a chance to pitch. They were going to pitch us to Magnolia because Magnolia was looking for a show that was garden and family. Yeah. And so we got contacted by a couple production companies, and we signed with one. But by the time that the production company we signed with got in touch with Magnolia, they had already chosen somebody in a show. So who knows? I mean, I think, you know, it could happen again in the future. If gardening becomes popular on TV, then, you know, maybe.
I mean, I'd
maybe
be
it'll
willing,
happen.
but if
We'll
it
see.
doesn't happen, I'm fine with just being right here with
This
all of
right
you.
here is even better
Yeah.
than an HGTV show, because we know, you know, we did our research. We kind of mentally prepared ourselves. Okay, if this does happen, it's going to be complete craziness, because when they shoot a TV show, they would come out here and they would be here for probably like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And it would be 8 weeks of nonstop just filming and shooting and us just, it would really be tough.
Yeah.
This is much better to be able to do this when we want to, on our time. We can control what we put out there. We're not censored. So
Not that we need to be censored.
right. No, I mean, you know, we can film what we want to film and talk about what we want to talk about, basically. So we don't have a script
and
that we have to stick to.
Right, yeah, and overall, I'd love it either way. I'm fine with it either way, but some of you may already have seen the garden show that Magnolia is going to put on. It looks amazing.
It does look cool.
And if you don't already follow them on Instagram, Floret Flower, that's who's going to have their own show. It's about a flower farm, and just them starting their own flower farm, and so it's going to be
and
awesome.
Expanding it too. So I think they've got a flower farm, but they're now going to be expanding it big time. And so it's it's kind of like what we're doing here, but they're, you know, this is their full-time business, you know. So it's going to be showing them expanding and building that. So it'll be fun to watch for sure. Gina says, I'm going to buy mine today, talking about the Country Gardens magazine. So, Gina, I think tomorrow, I don't think it'll be in the stores yet today. I think it'll be, I mean, maybe it would be.
Who knows? Maybe someone's doing their job really good and they got it out early.
Tracy Hogan says, still waiting for your makeup video. You're always on point.
And today I thought I went too shiny because I don't usually use a highlighter, but lately I've been feeling like I look really tired. I don't know if it's like
it's been so gloomy this week. It's just that's what
so I'm like I don't know what it is. Maybe I need to brighten up. So I put on this highlighter today and I was like, whoa, shiny. And so I tried to like matte it down a little, but yeah. You guys won't recognize me without makeup. It's
So someone asks, should I have success if I imitate your window boxes in Zone 9?
Zone 9. Can you just please share your state with us and how hot you get? Just share how hot you get. The window boxes are also an eastern exposure, so they get mainly just eastern sun, so up until all morning and up until about 1 p.m., 1 to 2 p.m. So
let's see. So I'm looking it up right here. Hopefully I can find what I'm looking for.
Googling. He's
On the
using
Google
the Google.
machine. I'm firing up the Google machine here. So zone 9, let's see, I got a map here of the that's one thing you can always, I mean, you can really Google
you're
anything,
going
but
too fast
well, hold
here.
on. The map is
I'm
so zone 9.
yeah, I need to just.
That's
it's
like
telling
Texas
us,
and Florida and
It's telling
stuff.
us though the what's going on with zone. His long gray line for growing was 30th. 2 weeks more depending. You'd like to get it down. It's like they don't tell you anything.
Well, zone 9, so that's basically like parts of Florida, Texas.
So everything in my window boxes last year is very heat tolerant. Let me think. There's cannas, the vertigo grass. We had the wave petunia in there. We had what else did we have in there last? I'm trying to think of last year's combination. I've been like so focused on trying to figure out what this year's combination is that I've been forgetting about last year's. Can you look on my Instagram quick? On my Instagram, I have the whole recipe, so I just want to make sure for you really quick here. Once Jason fires up the Instagram.
The Instagram machine.
Let's see here. Okay, right here. So, let's see. Do I have my... Okay. Alteranthera. Yeah, that's fine. Snapdragon. The snapdragons, the Tahiti bronze, may not do too well for you. They do fine for us because they get that east sun, and they still blossom for us because we fertilize pretty heavy, but they usually are more of like a cold tolerant annual, so a lot of people think they only do well in spring like pansies and in fall, but really they do well all summer for us here in Wisconsin. But I think for you in a zone 9 where you get pretty hot, I don't know if they'll be flowering for you as much. I'm not sure, but that's only my guess.
And our window boxes too face the east, and they do, so they're not really.
They get full sun, but it's still full, the amount of a full sun hours. It's just east side. I always say east side everything, because even things that are part shade or sun do well there because they get just equal amounts of shade and sun. Oh, and the super verbena. So superbenas, I think that's the large lilac blue, or either the dark blue, so that should do fine. There's the Gumfrina, that'll be fine. And let's see, I see some big begonias, they should be fine. Big begonias are a really full sun tolerant begonia. They're really showy, they're beautiful. So yeah, you should be okay.
All right.
Yep, they like fertilizer, a lot of that stuff. Oh, and I know I've been getting a lot of questions lately about the grasses that were in our window boxes last year, those black ones, and how big they got. So I just want to show you guys, I don't know if you guys watched last fall's video. It was saving annual grasses and saving money and seed saving. It was that video where we pulled the big black grasses out of the window boxes. They were huge. And we split them into 30 grasses and cut them to like little nubs for this year's plantings, and I'll show you.
If she can figure out how to get over there. There's plants everywhere. So I basically took these as a big chunk, and I took my Sawzall and I cut them. You know, there were probably little chunks like this, but you could kind of do the same thing here. If I ripped this whole thing out, there's 3 or 4 like main clumps that are coming up, so you could take that whole thing out and you could cut, you know, like right in between, you know, you could cut like this chunk off and replant it. And
yeah, so if you watch the video, we show you in detail how to do that. But these get huge, and if they were planted in a larger container, they would be even bigger than this, but we're really trying to conserve space in the greenhouse. That's why we use a lot of smaller containers for our spring gardens, as you can see throughout all of our videos. But all you do then too is just take off some of the bad ones. They clean up super easy and nice, and you don't even see those once they're planted in something that they can really grow in. We have them so compacted close to conserve space right now that, but yeah, that's how they are. They're awesome.
Let's see. So some of the seeds I started indoors are growing a bit of fuzzy mold. Any tips?
Well, that's not good. Put a fan on them.
Mold, yeah.
When we were growing, like, we did a lot of indoor gardening videos last year before we had the greenhouse, because I knew we were gonna have the greenhouse, and I'm like, we need to get out videos because not everyone has a greenhouse. A lot of people are growing either in their house, their basement, their garage, wherever. So I did do a video on growing indoors last year, and I went into detail on like seed starting and then maintaining it and then hardening them, all of that stuff. And one of the main key things is to keep a fan on your plants at least for a few hours a day. That gets the air circulating, gets them used to that natural movement of the natural elements like wind. And it also creates the stems to be a lot stronger when they're moving with that. Because if they're just sitting there still, you know, I don't know why they'd have so much mold on them though. Do you use any vermiculite on top? A lot of times that helps with that. The only thing I can think is that maybe they're getting too much water and there's no breeze keeping them going. What are you doing?
I'm gonna so I didn't tell Casey what I'm doing. I'm gonna take the camera here and just kind of, we were talking about how full the greenhouse is. I'm just gonna give a little you know, so everybody can kind of see what we got going on here. So there's our I hope we didn't need that. There's our fruit trees over here. There's the rest of the grasses. That banana tree, oh man, that thing is just amazing.
We'll be planting that up, and we're gonna actually share with you guys a video on us planting it up. Don't know how it's gonna do. I'm assuming it should do good, but you just never know. So
yeah,
we'll see.
A lot of the seedlings that are just doing amazing right now over here. We've got tomato plants. We just kind of staked up today.
You're showing the upper part of the greenhouse. You need to angle it.
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to show that we are. So I need to build some new benches, which I'm going to do this weekend. Try to get some of this stuff up off of the ground, but it's getting full in here. So. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna put this back on the stand here.
Yeah, sorry about that, you guys. I get motion sickness, so anytime Jason does like home tours with his phone, I can't watch them. I literally get sick just watching. Is anybody else that way? Like, even like when I play video games, I can't play any like racing games or anything. I'm like motion sickness.
She can't, yeah, and I mean even just driving is.
The girls are always like, "Why, Mom? Why are you driving?" Because like they think daddies are only supposed to drive, and I'm like, "Well, because Mommy gets sick."
So somebody writes, I started coleus from seed in mid-February, but I am finding they are extremely slow growing. Is this your experience? Should I fertilize them? If so, how often?
Well, you should, once the seedlings are up and they've been like a nice little seedling plant for a while, you should be fertilizing them. Check their root system too. If they've got a good root system, I don't know how big the cell is that you seed started them in, but it's always helpful if you bump them up into some fresh like growing soil, because a lot of times if you're starting off with some seeding soil, it doesn't carry enough nutrients to carry the plant past a seedling. It needs more. Fertilizing would help, but very lightly. Coleus don't love a lot of fertilizer unless they're like, at least not the seed varieties that I've experienced, but a lot of the larger varieties do very well, like, you know, proven winner varieties or Syngenta varieties, and the large coleus varieties do very well with it. But yeah, I think a little fertilizer would help, and bumping it up into something maybe a little bigger may give it a little boost. But let's see, we're in April. So you start them in February. They are very slow growing. So probably in maybe next year start them a month earlier.
Yeah, there you go. Silver Tongue Daywalker, hi, hello there. Thank you for always commenting and being supportive.
Yes.
We really appreciate that. Let's see here. Is it better to start cucumbers inside here in Michigan, or can they be planted in the ground in the greenhouse? Which way is better to start?
I think it really comes down to your own natural preference and experience. For us, I love to directly sow them. I feel like my plants perform a lot better than when I just, you know, seed start them indoors and then plant them outdoors. A lot of people do have problems with seed starting them outside because a lot of times they'll have problems with slugs. So if you get like a really wet spring as they're popping up, slugs or other bugs, they say, eat their seedlings. So that can be a problem too. So maybe just go by, you know, what works for you. We're in Wisconsin, so we're not far from you.
Yep.
And I like directly seeding. A lot of times what I do is I create like a little mound with the dirt, and then I seed them in that. So when it rains, the water kind of washes off. So then the plant's kind of sitting up a little higher above the just flat surface. So it's not just sitting on the wet ground soil. It's kind of raised up just about, you know, an inch or two by the time it settles with the rain. But I do the same thing with our zucchini squash. I do that with as well, because I don't know, I've been doing that since a kid. My dad's always like, mound it, you know.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, so I like to mound it.
Any reading material that you would recommend on greenhouses and seeding?
I don't really have any. My reading material isn't appropriate to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for greenhouses, I mean, really, I'm a YouTube you know, if I want to get some information, I'll probably Google it or YouTube it. So that's what I would do. I don't really have any.
I know that there's a lot of great books out there though. Do you follow Gardenary company? It's on Instagram. She's a great gardener, and she just put out a book called Garden Revival. And I'm pretty sure she goes from, because she shows a lot of before and afters of like raised beds. She goes into detail from blank spaces to creating and building raised beds, from wooden to metal, to what soil they use, I'm pretty sure, to like growing veggies, and to vertical gardening as well. So I know that because I follow her and she's constantly posting about it, and it looks good. So
yep,
I haven't read it
too,
though,
actually.
but I'm sure it's great because all of her followers love it.
So Maria asks, how do you plant the big baskets? May you please make a video on how to plant one of those? And I think you, maybe one of your first videos, maybe with your mom was one with the basket?
Yeah, a while ago, but I really don't make my own hanging baskets. We just focus on our raised beds, and we do like
containers.
Over 20 different containers throughout the garden. I don't really like doing a lot of hanging baskets, I guess because right now we're out in the open to the wind and everything gets really wind whipped. That's why a lot of times you only see us with one hanging basket on our sitting porch, and that's usually one that I get from my mom and my sister. I don't think they have any videos sharing on it right now, but I know that they're going to probably be refreshing up some of their stuff. But if you go on their Facebook page, Wayne's Daughter's Greenhouses, you may be able to find some of old past videos of where like they share a lot of that, because that's really not like the hanging baskets are a lot like our container gardens, so we don't really focus on hanging baskets.
I guess you could probably take, and if you were to get a basket, you could watch one of the container lessons that Casey does, and really, I mean, you can kind of plant them up, you know, in similar fashion.
Really, like, you know, take our window boxes for example. So in a basket, you would put that dark vertical grass in the middle rather than in the back, and you would put the trailing large superbena lilac blue trailing down along with the wave petunia and the alteranthera trailing down, and then you would add those big begonias, the rose color, around the edge for like your medium height. So you have the grass, the begonias, and trailing off, like, you'll have the alteranthera, the superbena, and Did I say the wave? I didn't say the
Nope.
wave petunia. So, you know, you can do a lot of the container gardens we're doing, but in a basket and just plant it so that way the tall is in the middle, the medium height surrounds, and the trailers go around as well.
So Carrie writes, I've been watching your videos and now I have my husband talked into helping me make our own mini garden oasis with the fire pit, lights, and all. Well, very cool. You're going to love it. You're definitely going to enjoy it.
Yeah, you guys are going to love that. Like, seriously, it is a lot of work, but when it's all done and you get to sit down and enjoy it, it is so much fun. And it's so much fun to have family time out in the garden too, because we just like play chase and run around, and even just like going out there and just looking at every little plant and seeing the bees and butterflies land. And then
It is great.
yeah, it just, there's so much going on. Once you add a garden, there's so much natural life coming into that space, and it just, so nice. I can't wait.
We can't wait. It'll be here soon.
We already hear the birds and the frogs though, so
Yeah,
that's
that
already
helps.
a plus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Viv says, when can we sow sunflower seeds outdoors? Still another 10 days from last frost in zone 6. Are you growing sunflowers already? Well, we have some popping up over there.
I always say wait till you're clear of frost, just because, I mean, you get hit with the hard frost and they're just gonna wilt and die, you know, so just play it safe. You got 10 days. I know we're getting anxious, but you know.
They'll shoot up. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, but the other thing though too is we have some that are reseeding, but I mean, if we're gonna get hit with frost, they get hit with frost, you know. If they're not protected, it just, they're not gonna do too much, you know. So I would just wait.
Patricia, hi there. Sounds like you got some good stuff going on with your gardening. Catherine writes, I've been watching you guys lately and I'm always so motivated to go out there and do some work in my backyard. Thank you for sharing your projects. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
That's awesome, because you know, I've been hearing from quite a few people that, you know, when they watch, it gets them motivated to do something, and that's actually a really big compliment, because right now I feel like it's so easy to just like lose it and just sit there in sweats and eat.
Right.
You know, so if you're watching something that motivates you to get up and go out there and do something, thank you.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Definitely. So Angela asks, please explain the difference between a podcast, vlog, and YouTube. So a podcast is basically just audio. So Casey and I will sit down. We actually have an app on our phone where we can turn it on and just talk right into the phone. And so a podcast would be something that if you've got an iPhone, you've got an app for it that says podcasts. But it's something that you can just play as an audio, almost like the radio, except you can choose when and what you want to listen to. A vlog and YouTube are kind of similar. So a vlog is like a new term for a blog. So
It's
blog,
a video blog.
right, a video blog. So a blog is something that Casey actually has a blog, CaseyLynnLawrence.com. So there are written posts about how to start seeding indoors, this, that, or the other. A vlog would be not only the written post, it would be a video showing how to do that.
Right.
So that's what a vlog is. So YouTube has a lot of vlogs. YouTube
Yeah,
is...
a vlog is more of documentary.
Right.
It's documenting something. So, and it's all on YouTube. So, a vlog is just like, so we're saying we have our YouTube channel, but we have the vlog on there. So YouTube channel, and then our playlist is garden vlog.
Right.
So garden vlog is just where we're literally documenting everything we do. So it's more of like a show to sit and watch, like entertaining, but there's tons of gardening tips and how-tos because we're sharing what we're doing, but also sharing our time in the garden with the family, showing how we enjoy the garden and different ways to do things in the garden, and our failures in the garden and our successes in the garden.
So it's one. So what is the name of the playlist?
Garden vlog.
Garden vlog. So on our YouTube channel, there's a playlist. So basically, it breaks the videos into categories. So the playlist called Garden Vlog is just us showing what we're doing. Yeah. And then there's also another playlist that is more of the like
garden tips. So
and
that's more
how-tos.
of like structured how-tos. even though you'll still find some of the vlog videos in there, because if I feel that there's a ton of information that somebody is just coming there for gardening for that they could get from that video, I'm gonna put it there. But in the vlog, there's also some family mixed into there, and we also have a playlist then that's, you know, gardening for kids and kid friendly. So I wanted to be able to compile all of our videos that kids would be entertained by, the videos that Lana and Selah love to watch. So I put all those there, and Lana and Selah are 2 kids. They also started doing gardening for kids. They wanted to start making videos on things that they're doing in the garden. So there's not many of those, but they, whenever they want to, I'm like, okay, you know,
Right.
so I turn on the camera, you know, video them. But we also compiled some of the videos that we filmed overall that are, you know, safe for kids to watch, even though they're all safe.
They are, right.
Ones that are, you know, kids will be more interested in, you know, like our trips up north, and everything's really focused around the outdoors and natural, you know, elements, and, you know, there's nothing bad.
Yeah, but they would just be
kids.
more entertaining for kids. They're not like
Yeah.
straight up lesson
Yeah.
style. So if you got kids, that might be something
And
that
we
they
don't-
can binge watch.
Right, and we don't show like bad behavior, kids crying, because we feel that like kids are very impressionable. So if there's kids watching our channel, like our kids are just like any other kid. They're gonna whine, fight, cry, you know, just like anyone else. But we don't show it because we feel like if a family's watching together and there's kids watching, they're very impressionable, and a lot of times they mimic what they see. So we don't want to, you know, be sharing, you know, Lana and Selah fighting, and then it's like, you know, all of a sudden the child watching wants to just tear it up with their sibling, you know,
Right.
and cause bad behavior. You know, I mean, all kids have, you know, their behaviors, but we like to be able to share things that are, you know, when kids watch, they feel inspired or they want to go outside. You know, someone mentioned, when I watch your videos, it makes me want to get up and go out and do something. And that's what we want kids to feel when they watch it. They want to
Right.
get up and go out and do something, but it's always like things naturally that they can do and play with and have fun with and be creative.
Right. Shauna asks, how are the tulips growing in the window boxes? Kind of hit or miss.
Wah, wah.
Ultimately, are we gonna? I guess we'll call it a fail. But
No, I don't think of it as a fail.
it's
So
more
I
of an
do.
experiment, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I know what went wrong, and that's the fact that we maybe put them in a little too late. When I was putting them in, there was still some, you know, really hard, cold pieces in there, you know, a little icy soil. I also think it's because we waited till the very end to go buy those bulbs. So we got the good deals, you know. I got all those bulbs for only like $30 some, like tons of bulbs. And then it's like when I'm planting them, some of them didn't feel good. Some of them didn't look good, but I'm like, we'll just toss them in there anyway. So I think it compiled a lot of different factors that factored into only a few popping up and doing well. So timing and the timing, everything's timing.
Yeah. Yep.
So timing of buying, timing of planting. So if we do it, we're gonna get bulbs from a source online that we know that will be good, like a Brex or something. You know, we know that if they send us bulbs, they're gonna pop up. And then we're gonna also plant them a little bit earlier than when we did.
Sure. So, inspired by Ebony Love writes, hi Casey, if you were a new gardener planting raised beds in your style, renting a house which you now found out may be sold this year, how would you go about gardening? This may happen to me. I'm anxious now. So I'll just throw in a little something before you
Wait,
go.
did she say she has raised beds already?
She said she's
or-
going to be planting raised beds
Okay.
in kind of the style that you do it. So I guess my question would be, so if the house is being sold and you don't have to be out until August or September, then I would say do your thing, kind of plant what you want to plant there, because you're going to get to enjoy it for, you know, once September comes, that's when things are kind of, you know, not doing.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're just beginning or you just, you know, I always say just plant what you eat, plant what you like to look at. Easy things are always, if you're gonna grow edibles, grow what you like to eat first, you know, and then great easy varieties to grow: Victoria Blue Salvia, zinnias, my favorite, State Fair Dreamland. Some snaps, depending on your zone, I guess. If you're a little warmer, snaps may not blossom as much through the summer. I also just love a lot of varieties of everything. So some flowering kale. I like using a lot of millet because it draws in some birds. If you're not a bird person, then no millet. I like, oh gosh, I like so many marigolds are great. Nasturtiums are always pretty, trailing off the side. Oh, I'm trying to think. We need to maybe do these in the morning when I'm like maybe after coffee or something, you know?
Any tips for growing dahlias?
Are you having problems with dahlias or? I mean, a lot of times, I guess, I mean, they grow just like anything else for us when we grow them. We fertilize them just regularly with a bloom booster. A lot of times they can get some mildew on them, so be prepared. Keep some mildew spray on you. There's a lot of different organic varieties. We like the mildew cure, it's called. So that's probably the only issue we get with them.
The bloom booster is probably one of the best tips because that fertilizer that you mix in with the water, I mean, that definitely makes a difference.
Yeah, greens them up and gives them a lot of blossoms. But if you're growing flowers with edibles, we do not use the chemical fertilizers. We go organic with the Spoma, Jobs, and now we're also trying an Agro Thrive, which we can't recommend yet because we're trying it out. But Spoma is probably the main one that we use for organic fertilizer in our edibles. So
someone asks, what will grow in evening shade behind the peas trellises?
Evening shade? So does it get daytime sun? That's my question.
Okay. Let's see. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who's tuning in and watching. If you have any questions, we're taking questions right now.
How can I grow lavender in a pot?
It's easy. You just plant it in there with some growing mixture or potting soil and it should be fine. That's what we do. I've got a lot growing in the back. Should I go grab one?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yep. So someone asked where the girls are. They are in the house, which we can see the way our greenhouse is set up. I just saw Lana walk past the window.
See
The way our greenhouse is set up, it's kind of angled looking back at the house. So greenhouse is here. The camera is actually set up where both of the doors are open, so we can see into the gardens, we can see the house. So that's where they are now. They might come out here. I'm surprised that they haven't already because they always like to see what we're doing here. So
they're nosy.
So someone writes, I like how Jason is our spokesperson in the live shows and vlogs. Well, thank you. I know Casey's definitely the pro with all the answers, so that's what my job is.
So we have about 8 pots of this lavender. One of the varieties is Munstead, which is perennial here in Zone 4. But this one, I forgot which variety it is, and I'm afraid to put it outside because I'm afraid it won't come back. And it smells so amazing, so I just love having it for the smell. And this was one that we seed started 2 years ago, and then we kept them growing in just these little 6-inch pots.
Oh, so okay, we've had a couple people ask about the merchandise. So I've got a it's almost there. I would say this next week we'll have t-shirts and hats, sweaters available to buy right now, and I'll post the logo that we're gonna put on there for now, and we'll do different things with it, but just so that we can get something out there.
Yeah.
And here, maybe I have quick access to it.
I like it, but it's not like what I want for the logo, but I think it's a good start. And really, we're just trying to get one in to see the quality of the actual t-shirt. So we don't want to like sell shirts if the material is bad and doesn't wash good. That's the biggest thing is washing.
So here's the I know it's backwards. It's mirror image for you watching there, but it says the Lawrence Garden Farm, and we've got the tree there that is the top of the L. So that's what it would look like on a white t-shirt. If we do it on other colors, we'll kind of change up the word coloring. But that's what we got so far, and we'll we both love drawing and art, so we'll keep making designs, and I'd like to have a bunch of different stuff out there.
I have been actually coming up with some really good
Funny sayings.
So
why don't you share one of them?
No, what if somebody steals it? So there's one that I thought of for a guy's t-shirt, but Jason thought it was like way too dirty. But I'm like, but it's not dirty unless you're thinking dirty, you know? And he's like, I don't know, but
this
if
is
you're
a family
guy,
channel, hon.
But if you're a guy, but there's no kids shopping a website.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to see it, give a thumbs up right now in comments.
Patricia writes, Casey, you always look so happy and radiant. Any chance number 3 is on the way?
Oh, goodness. I'm not pregnant. I'm just surviving COVID. No, baby.
Nana's Legacy. How come you don't have farm animals? I think they would be something you would want, at least chickens. So we have been talking about that, and we do plan on getting some animals. We need to make arrangements for it, and
my arrangements and ideas are for next year. Chewing him out.
We're not in any hurry.
I already have the barn designed, the animals picked out, the source where we're gonna get them. We'll just see if Jason's on board with it. But my dad did just get chicks, so we've been down there hanging out with the chicks. Did we talk about that at the beginning of this video, or was that the podcast? Oh, we talked about that on the podcast today.
Yeah. Yep. So we've got a video that'll be coming out, and it's going to show the girls. We're going over to Grandpa Wayne's chicken coop and looking at all the baby chicks. The girls love getting in there and holding them and playing with them. So it's fun stuff.
I think you guys will like that video just because, like, we're not going to add in any music when we're showing the chicks, because the sound of their little noises and little chirps is just like the cutest little thing ever. And it's just like, it was almost like relaxing.
It was.
It was relaxing to just like watch them.
Yep.
I don't know. Like when I was a little kid, we grew up with chickens, and I remember like whenever we get baby chicks, me and my next door neighbor, she was like my age, we would just spend every single day in that chicken coop until they got big. Once they got big, I'm like, eh.
They're not as cute
They're not
anymore.
Cute. But when they're chicks, we spend every single day, and it's so hot in the chicken coop because chicks need it really warm. And, you know, you go in there, and you feel so tired because it's so warm. And I don't know, it just brought back so many memories.
Multiplier Fish Batch. Hello. Let's see. Hi, I'm new. Did you plant everything? I'm assuming you're talking about in the greenhouse. And
welcome to the channel.
Yes.
And over half of everything in our greenhouse is what we planted and started from seed. And pretty soon we'll be starting to plant out in the garden. We're from Wisconsin, so it's not that time yet. Our weather's a little finicky yet, so we still got a little time, but we will be starting container gardens inside the greenhouse, so that way I can get a few tasks off the list before we start planting outside. And we hope you're enjoying the channel, and just let us know if there's ever a topic that you want us to create. So we're always taking suggestions too. We can't cover all the suggestions, obviously, but ones that are mentioned a lot over others are ones that we tend to create. So
all right, let's see here. What fruit do you think you... Okay, never mind. What fruit do you think you could kick the furthest? Oh, somebody said make the dirty tea. Will be great for a cheeky gift. My thumbs were up for the picture of the t-shirt.
Well, then I think we should create it, because it's like, you know, you have a choice whether you want to buy it or not, and no kids are going to look at the area where you're doing the t-shirts anyways.
Oh, so Angela writes, she was the one that had asked about YouTube and the podcast. So she said, I wanted to know how to access your blog/vlog. I'm the granny Google era. So
the Google.
Yeah.
Google. I love it. You know, it's just so great that, you know, you're on YouTube as well, because I just feel like it's so important to just continue to move with the times. Like my mom, she's really worked so hard at it, and I try to take time to like show her, but she doesn't even watch us on YouTube because she doesn't know how to get there, even though I've showed her a million times. But I think ultimately it comes down to whether you want to learn to do something or not. And I think she's okay with just, you know,
Right.
having her Food Network on all day. You know,
So
she loves cooking.
I'm gonna put a link out there for our podcast.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I'll do that right now. That way you can find us there. So regarding the pea trellis and the evening shade question.
Yep.
So behind the pea trellis is sun all day with evening shade. What veggies might do well there?
Oh, veggies. Okay. Pretty much. I mean, you could do some broccolis, some cabbage, you know, because they get really nice and round. It might be kind of cool to have, like, you know, this stuff trellising, but then you have like this leafy foliage. And maybe in between yeah, you know what, that'd be better. Don't put anything else in between, anything taller, because those peas are going to need that sun there. So I would say just like even like some cabbage, things that are just like lower, because then that way once the peas are done you can pull them out, and you can maybe even put some tall pretty state fair zinnias, or maybe a tall flower. But if you're just a total foodie in the garden, no flowers, that's fine too. You can just maybe even plant in some more peas or some beans or something else there. But I think that adding like something that's just a little bit lower there, something that's not trailing, something that's not going to take over that trellis along with the peas. Even some peppers would do okay, because they wouldn't be blocking the sun there. Anything that's not going to block the peas sun going up the trellis would be pretty fine.
Yeah. Let's see here. Casey, I got my raised beds done and I want to add lighting. However, with having a very small space, I do not want to make it feel like a football stadium. Any ideas? Maybe solar lanterns?
I mean, if you want the look of having a lot of lights but not bright, solar would be best. But if you are fine with just having a couple strands with less light, that's good too. I mean, really any outdoor, as long as you can hang it, would be fine. I like a warmer color because it's not so like vibrant. The only way it'll look like a football field is if you go with like a cool white light. So before we used this outdoor lighting that we have now, this is like a commercial grade from Amazon. We had some indoor-outdoor lighting with brown strands from Hobby Lobby, and they were more round rather than the Edison style. And I actually liked those better, because what I liked about them was that they were just a little bit warmer, and they were even softer. They gave more of like a dreamy glow in the garden, even though it was nice and bright. It gave more of a dreamy glow rather than, I mean, our lights are still beautiful that are there now, but you know what I'm saying.
I definitely, yeah. So the ones that we have now are definitely more industrial. And once we're ready to go to something else, I want to go back to what we originally had.
I think we should just go back
Yeah.
and put these somewhere else.
These bulbs are too big, and they're too heavy, and
they're really heavy because they weigh down, and we keep them up all year round because we like to be able to look out at the gardens. We leave our gardens just die off and sit there all winter, so when it snows, it like gives a lot of like great like winter feeling, and it draws in the birds because we leave our sunflowers up and our millet grasses, so the birds are still feeding and they're getting their little, you know, nesting materials and all that kind of good stuff. And so we keep the lights out all year round, and they weigh down because they're kind of heavy. So the other ones weren't so heavy, you know, like
Right.
they were lighter, so they didn't weigh down. And these ones, like if they weigh down and there's like where they plug in together, it kind of comes undone. So like, every once in a while, like one of them just isn't working, and Jason has to go out there and get them together and electrical tape them, and it's just a pain. I mean, they're still nice though, because they've lasted how long?
They have. I mean, I actually did have to replace all. They're not LED. I would love to, if I can find a warm enough LED. And I know they keep advancing it. It's not there yet.
It's never the same as the regular light.
No, I know.
The feeling.
So Viv asks, do you guys have solar string lights above your seating area near the fireplace? We don't. So what I did is we ran the lights, connected them on the top of the 2x4s, and then I had an extension cord that I kind of like nail stapled to the side of the 2x4, so the lights are plugged in up top. That extension cord runs down and then it's underneath the stone. So I used garden staples, which is kind of like when you put down the underlayment underneath your gardens, the weed barrier. They make these, they almost look like big staples that you pound into the ground, and it keeps the weed barrier down. That's what I used to keep the extension cord down, and then just covered it with stones, and it's, you know, it's been fine there. Silver Tongue Daywalker asks, Casey, can you do some short courses around your garden of how to grow and plant? Which, I mean, I guess we kind of, I mean, yeah, I mean, we do,
Oh, yeah.
you know, yep.
Yep, we've got a lot of good lessons in store for this year, and I think just overall, I think you can find a lot of that in our garden vlog too. The garden vlog playlist, which isn't so much like how to, you know, or think like, you know, like the how-to lessons. It's more of just like you follow us through the garden and you learn a lot, but you're also being entertained at the same time.
Right.
So it's just two different styles mixed into one channel, but they're divided into playlists for you.
Can you recommend a small tree for my garden? So last year we added a river birch.
That's not a small tree.
Two
though.
river birches. Well,
Add
I
a
guess.
river birch,
Oh,
it
wow,
only gets
wow,
about 40
wow. There's
feet.
like tons and tons of.
Birds.
They are, and they're birds that we've never. They're not very common. They almost look like ducks. There's thousands of them, and they're flying over the top of us.
That's
So
awesome.
they're in between. I gotta get out there.
Jason. Oh, Jason. Jason's a bird nerd. He'll be back. But what was the last question, Jason? I forgot.
Oh boy, let's see here.
Get back.
What was that last question? Can you recommend a small tree for my garden?
Okay. So I'm not like an expert with trees. Trees and shrubs are something that we're still kind of learning ourselves, mainly because I didn't grow up with that. We haven't expanded into that a lot. We haven't done a lot of landscaping around our yard. More of perennials, annuals, edibles. That's more of my thing. But we're getting into the trees, and it's actually so much fun. Like, you know, that's what I love about gardening is it's endless. It's endless of learning. So there's no way you could possibly ever get bored. But there's always just something so fun. And we've got this local nursery called Eater's Nursery, and they just have like all this land you can just walk and see trees upon trees and different varieties and just so many things that can inspire you for cool spaces in your garden. But long story short, I've been looking at some just some like little apple blossom and cherry blossom trees, just for like little spaces where it's not really for eating. It's more just for the flowering, and it's not really.
Japanese maple? It's always a good one, right? I mean, those
Well,
do those get pretty big, or?
Well, I don't know. Like, I thought that they usually like something that wasn't as sunny.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
At least the shrubs like it
ton
more
about
shady.
trees
I'm not sure,
either,
but
so.
But yeah, so I really can't help you any further, but just thought I'd share one that I've been eyeing up.
Right. Yeah, and we will get some more knowledge. Patricia writes with planting the berms.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely get more familiar. In fact, I was talking with a tree guy the other day, and he was telling me that black spruce, which is that's a pine tree that's really like thick and full, and it's got if you were to hug it, you wouldn't want to do that because it's got the real sharp needles. They like it on the south side. So if I've got a berm and I've got the north side and the south side is going to get more sun, more light, more of a breeze through it. They grow better in those conditions than they would on the north side. And he had other trees that he would recommend for the north side. So
yeah, I always feel like, you know, you're best off at asking like tree experts. I feel like trees is like a whole nother thing. It is. Landscaping is like a whole nother thing than gardening. Like,
right.
I know that they're the same, but yet they're different. There's just so many varieties of trees that I mean, it's so cool to like learn. And
so Christine, great to have you with us. She says you absolutely need a redbud tree. It's not huge, but it's gorgeous with heart-shaped leaves and the flowers come first, and then the leaves. Stunning.
Ooh, sounds awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna have to write that one down.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that
Yep.
variety. That's cool.
Well, that's all the
Yeah, I
questions
gotta-
that we've got so
I gotta
far.
use the restroom. so-
Casey's got to go to the bathroom.
Drink all that water.
We're getting hungry. Thank you everybody for joining us. We
Yeah,
really
thank
appreciate your time that you take to spend with us, and very grateful for that. So
Yep. So thank you so much,
Yes.
you guys, and hopefully you have a great weekend, and we'll see you again next week.
yeah.
Yep. But we'll be putting out more videos. So our next video is if you're a person that just made a big plant haul, and you only have a few weeks, or you still have a few weeks till you put it out in the garden, what do you do with them now to keep them looking great until then?
Yeah, that should be a good one.
And
so.
it goes into detail. Like it talks about separating, cleaning.
Yep. So have a great
Bye.